Alright, it is time for even more zombies. Good morning, good evening, whatever time of day it is for you. Welcome to this thing that I do called Thor's Entertainment. I am Thor. And recently I found myself fighting a bunch of zombies in an old mansion outside of Raccoon City. And I had such a good time doing that I wanted to continue the fight, only we're going to be relocating to the police station inside of Raccoon City. So yeah, I wrapped up all the videos I wanted to do on the remake of Resident Evil 1. And now I'm going to be playing through the 2019 remake of Resident Evil 2. Now I am going to have a decent number of videos covering this game. Those are going to include S+ rank playthroughs for both characters and both their scenarios. I'll also have videos for the bonus modes as well, covering my first time beating the 4th Survivor mode, as well as the Ghost Survivor modes. Now this is going to be a long playthrough where I just take my time going through the entire game. In doing so, I wanted to explore pretty much every area that I possibly could, try to find all the unique items that I possibly could, and I also wanted to try reading through all of the documents to cover the entire story of the game. I'm going to be starting things off by selecting Claire as my playable character, and once I get done beating the game with her, I'm going to switch over to Leon and play the second scenario for this game as him. By covering both the characters and both the scenarios, we should get to meet all the side characters, get to fight all the bosses, and also get to see the true ending to this game. Now we have a lot of ground to cover with this long playthrough, so let's go ahead and get started with the opening cutscene. I don't talk during the cutscene, so I'll be seeing you again here in a little while. You know, before I actually play that cutscene, I should probably read these different character scenario descriptions. So for Leonskennedy, it gives you this description. After a few days of radio silence from his new post, Leonskennedy drives to Raccoon City to scope things out. Unbeknownst to him, a nightmare awaits. But again, we're not selecting Leonskennedy, at least not right now. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and read Claire's scenario. Alright, Claire Redfield, sister of Chris Redfield. You know, one of the playable characters from the first game. A different nightmare awaits Claire Redfield, who is unaware of just how drastically her very ordinary life is about to change. Oh, and for the difficulty, I'm going to be selecting the hardcore difficulty, which is what I'm going to be doing for every single playthrough that I do for this game. Which just means tougher enemies and more limited saving. Although I'm going to be really lenient with the amount of times that I save in this long playthrough, although when it comes to the S+ ranked playthroughs, well, the saving is going to be limited to 3 times, so we have that to look forward to later. And oh yeah, we get one final description before that cutscene. So, Raccoon City, an industrial city in the heart of America, and Claire Redfield's destination. Racing along on her bike, Claire has but one goal: to find her older brother Chris, who seems to have dropped off the face of the earth a few weeks back. As the rain beats down on her, a feeling of dread spreads through her chest. A vague feeling that's about to take on a very tangible form, right before her eyes. And alright, with a little bit of setup out of the way, now let's go ahead and go into the introductory cutscene for the game.
Look, man, I'm serious, okay? I saw this with my own eyes.
Oh, I believe you, buddy. I believe you. Just tell us a story. Tell us a story.
Okay, well, it was last Friday night. I was walking home from the bar, and this woman started coming towards me. She was staggering, you know, so I figured she was drunk.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, tell us, be honest now. How many drinks did you have?
No, man, I barely had a buzz on.
Oh, come on.
Look, just listen, all right? She got closer, and I got a good look at her. You got to see her eyes, her nose, her whole face. It looked like it was rotting.
Yeah.
She looked like a corpse, like a walking corpse, man.
Sounds like my wife.
I've never seen anything like it. I haven't been able to sleep since that night.
All right, calm down, buddy. Calm down. Just, hey, you got to stay strong, okay? Don't give in to fear out there, right?
Yeah, well, you got that right. If you freeze up around these things, they'll sink their teeth in you. I should attack somebody.
Oh, come on. It's just getting good. I need some sleep. Oh, shit!
I'm almost there. You know me, I'll be fine. Sounds good. I'll be back as soon as I find Chris. I will, but I gotta go. Why does everyone think I'm gonna get in trouble? What the? Hello?
So Claire has been stuck on a motorcycle in the rain, and that really sucks. But at least this night can't possibly get any worse. And I guess I'll go ahead and quickly take a look around the area. Just checking out the back seat of the sheriff car. For anyone who has played the original Resident Evil 2, you might understand why I am curious what is back there.
Hello? Anybody here? Hello? Are you okay? Wait here. I'll check it out.
Hold still!
Excuse me, is everything okay?
Stay back, ma'am. I got this.
Get off him! I said get off him! Don't come any closer!
You know, the sheriff probably would have been fine had we not distracted him, so in a way I feel like this is kind of our fault. But yeah, the sheriff just got completely wrecked, so we're just going to go ahead and nope the hell out of here. The doors ended up closing and locking behind us, but we can run past the zombie, grab the key, and get out. Getting hurt this early is not the end of the world though, since we are not trying to speedrun this or anything like that. Plus, you get healed immediately after this gas station, so any damage you take really does not matter. Although don't bother trying to shoot the zombies. Whenever you do leave here, you only get your health back after the gas station. You don't get your bullets back, so save those if you can.
No, don't shoot!
Get down!
We gotta get out of here.
You alright?
Yeah, I think so. Thanks.
You can thank me later, when we're safe.
Holy shit.
Come on! Get in! Hold on.
What the hell is going on?
I don't know. Hopefully they'll have some answers at the police station.
Wait, you're a cop?
Yeah, Leonskennedy. You are?
Claire. Claire Redfield.
Live around here?
No. I'm looking for my brother. He's a cop too.
Well, it's a good thing we found each other. I don't know what to expect anymore.
Attention all citizens. Due to the citywide outbreak, you are advised to take shelter at the Raccoon City police station. Free food and medical supplies will be provided to everyone in need.
Oh my god, this is so unreal.
Police station's not much farther. They'll know something.
Yeah, but what if we're the only ones? What if there's no
No,
survivors?
there's survivors. It's a big city. There has to be. Looks like we're walking from here.
More like running.
Yeah, good call.
Leon, you gotta back up. What the?
Holy shit. There, get out. Get out now!
I can't!
Hold on!
Oh shit.
Claire! Claire, you okay?
Yeah! I'm alright! How about you?
I can't stay here. It's not safe.
Oh shit. Go on ahead! I'll meet you at the station!
All right, after the explosion just slammed Claire against the car with skull-crushing and breakneck force, we now know that everything that happens going forward is going to be the delusional, concussed fever dream of Claire in the final moments before her death, because there's no way she was surviving that crap.
It's like the end of the world.
Now that is quite dark and grim, but at least her imagination brewed up one hell of an adventure right before she fell into a deceased status. But yeah, the gas station is kind of a pre-game before the actual playthrough begins, so from this point forward, the run has truly began. And now we are running through the streets in a pretty non-threatening sightseeing tour where we get to get a quick look around a few blocks of Raccoon City before we wind up at the police station. There are zombies like all over the place, but they are carefully positioned so that you can pretty easily zigzag around them. And if you know what you are doing, you should not have any trouble avoiding damage. I mean, even if you don't know what you're doing, they really are not that much of a problem to dodge, so enjoy your evening jog before the real challenges start. And over here is where you used to be able to go and find the zombified version of Brad Vickers, the STARS member from the very first game who is piloting the helicopter. But now it is boarded up and you can no longer find him over there like you could back in the original Resident Evil 2, so I guess they kind of fixed the continuity error that presented. But besides that, we found a bunch of bodies wrapped up in body bags and other things, so things clearly did not go very well here at the police station before we showed up.
Anybody here?
And nope, there's nobody else here but us. I'll go ahead and pick up the first aid spray and we'll take a look around though. And as I do so, I'm definitely going to make note of the big maiden statue in the middle of the room and also point out the lion statue upstairs and behind it. Those will be coming into play a little bit later, but yeah, let's make a big circle. There's no one else here as you can tell. Although there is a computer over here, so let's go ahead and take a look at that.
Come on, Chris. Where are you? Oh shit. They're inside too.
David, Marvin, you there? I found a way out. It's in here. Send reinforcements. East hallway.
I should help this guy.
And that is Officer Elliott Edward. And he is in a bit of a pickle, so we're going to go ahead and help him out. Once we get over there to his location, I'm sure we can cut his problem in half.
Great. Where are you?
Alright, we have crawled our way into the impossibly dark and bloody hallway where nothing bad has ever happened and nothing bad will ever happen. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about this. Also back there was a fuse box with a missing fuse. I will eventually have to deal with that.
Focus, Claire. Focus.
And now I'm going to go ahead and take a quick detour into this press room. There's not really a whole lot in here, but I'll go ahead and turn on the lights and pick up some handgun ammo that's under this body. And we'll get a good little look around, and then we'll just continue on our way through the dark hallway. But yeah, this room kind of conspicuously doesn't really have anything important in it, so I feel like there may be more in this room than we are immediately noticing, so we will eventually find our way back here and see if that ends up being true. But I do like the introduction of areas in the police station that are just nearly completely dark. It definitely adds a level of anxiety wandering around with just a flashlight, not really knowing what may be around the corner. Or in this case, what may be hiding behind a bathroom stall, which fortunately for me was first aid spray, but you just never really know. And that's kind of the fun of this being a completely dark area that you have to explore. And I remember playing this remake for the first time, being a little bit stressed out in this area, and I mean that in a really good way, so yeah, I think this is a pretty good change.
Oh my god.
Open up! Hurry! Open up! Open this goddamn door!
I'm here!
Open the door! Hurry up! Hurry up! Open it!
Here, give me your hand!
Help me!
Hold on! Give me your other hand! It's okay, I got you! Oh my god! I'm so sorry.
Well, goodbye, Officer Elliott Edward. You will be missed. But he did manage to leave us behind this little scrapbook with some drawings in it, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. The first drawing appears to be of the statue of the maiden in the entrance hall, and behind her seems to be a secret passageway, possibly an escape route. And on the pages after that, we see some doodles of some statues, one being of a lion, one being of a unicorn, and one being of another lady. And underneath each of those are some symbols. All that's going to come into play here very shortly. And alright, time to go back to the main hall, but first there's a zombie trying to break into this room. We want to be running at the furthest right portion of the door that we possibly can, so whenever he does break down that door, we are able to run through the crevice right next to him. And over here, a bunch of zombies are about to flood out of a closet. What you want to do is hug the wall on the right and continue running forward, and you should manage to run through a small gap between the zombies without them being able to attack you, which I managed to do, so let's go ahead and get out of here.
You all right?
Yeah.
You're safe. For now. Marvin Browner.
Thanks.
Obviously someone taught you well.
Yeah. I know how to take care of myself.
Come on.
So nobody knows what caused this?
There's a lot of theories. But all I know for sure is that this place is crawling with zombies.
Yeah, you're telling me.
Hey, keep that on. Just in case.
I'm not gonna be around long. Once I find Chris, we're out of here.
You really Chris's sister?
Yeah. Why? Did you find something?
He's on vacation. Europe, I think. Left weeks ago.
Vacation? It's great news.
Well, I've got more for you. Looks like there might be a way out through this secret passageway.
Good. Hey. Hey, we should probably get you to a hospital.
Oh, don't forget about me. I can take care of myself.
No. Don't be ridiculous. You're gonna need some help.
Listen, Claire. Save yourself. So you can see your brother again. Now, you'll probably need this.
No, I'm not taking that. You're gonna...
Shh. And be careful. If you see one of those things, no matter who they were, you can't hesitate. Take them out if you can. Or you run.
And cool, we finally get our first combat knife of the game, which these function a bit differently than they did back in the remake of the original Resident Evil. Those combat knives are permanent. These ones are temporary. The more you use them, the more likely it is that they are going to break. And surprisingly, it's going to be one of the most important weapons in the early game. Now, you're not really going to see that for a little while, but when it comes up, I will make sure to point out why. Now, if you will recall, whenever we first entered the entrance hall for the police station, I made a point to point out the lion statue at the very back of the room. And as I pointed out in Officer Elliott Edwards' notebook, he also had a drawing of the lion statue. And right underneath it were some symbols. So I ran up here to the lion statue, and sure enough, you can manipulate the symbols beneath it as well. So I refreshed my memory by going to the notebook, looking at the symbols that were on that notebook, and now we are matching them up here. And the order of the symbols should be lion, feather, and bird. And if we put those symbols in that order, this is what we get. And alright, it opened up and gave us a lion medallion, which is going to become immediately useful. We're just going to go ahead and run over here and get some handgun ammo. Then we're going to go down to the statue of the maiden. And in front of that statue, we're going to be noticing 3 indentations that are in the shape of the medallions. So yeah, the gimmick is going to be find the statues like we did for the lion statue, put the symbols in the right order based on what's in the notebook that we got from Officer Elliott Edward, and then grab the medallions and then go all the way back to the maiden statue and make sure we got all 3 of them, and then we can progress. And if the notebook is an indication of what's to come, there should be a passageway down there somewhere.
So Elliott was right.
Yeah, but we're not out of here yet.
Now it is time to get out of the entrance hall again. We're going to be using the combat knife that Marvin gave us. We're going to open up an electrical box that was taped up using that knife. And inside there is going to be a lever that we can use to open the shutter door. Now the combat knife kind of functions like both the combat knife from the original remake, but also like the daggers from that same game. Now the combat knife, that was a primary weapon that you can equip, and then you can attack opponents with it permanently, it never breaks. But the daggers, on the other hand, were a defensive weapon, and the purpose they served was if a zombie grabbed you, you could then use the dagger to impale them in some way, whether that be in their head, shoulder, whatever. And that would get the zombie off of you before it had the chance to bite you. Now, the combat knives here in the Resident Evil 2 remake kind of do both. You can use them as a primary weapon, but they will eventually break. And you can still use them as a defensive weapon, but if you do that, it sustains more wear than it would normally if you were to use it as a primary weapon, and it's closer to breaking if you use it defensively. But still, it might be worth it because the damage you take from the opponent may be way worse than it would be if you just let the knife break. Now, somebody must have been really proud of that gruesome effect because they went out of their way to give us a cutscene to see all of the gore up close and personal. Now, besides just showing off the gruesomeness of that officer's death, that individual also had a radio on them that you could kind of hear some chatter on. And that chatter seemed to indicate that there is a helicopter in the air somewhere in the area. And since that helicopter has some people alive piloting it, that may come in handy later. And as we were running through the hallway, a zombie broke through the window and we retreated into this room, and we're going to be checking out the very first journal of the game, so I'm going to go ahead and narrate that. This journal is titled Record of Events. On September 25th, we're turning the station into a temporary shelter due to the massive sudden outbreak. All police personnel have been instructed to make the safety of the civilians their top priority as we try to accommodate them as much as possible. And then there is an addendum to September 25th. One of the refugees attacked us in the middle of the night, resulting in the death of one officer and injuring 3 others. The person in question was quickly restrained. We believe this is simply a case of someone snapping under intense stress. September 26th. A mob attacked the station today, resulting in a number of casualties. A few survivors were able to make it to safety behind the emergency shutters. But surrounded as we are, it'll be hard for any of us to escape this place. We're not sure if we can fix any of our comm equipment, so we remain cut off from the outside world. September 27th. There was another clash on the west side of the station around 1 p.m. 12 people died, and there is only a handful of survivors left. Everything is falling into disarray around here. Signed, David Ford. And that is the end of the document, and David Ford is going to be a name that we see a few more times throughout this early game because his name is on a bunch of documents, and he's also part of a little name puzzle that we have to do here momentarily. And alright, it is time to narrate the next journal. This one is titled Operation Report. This one takes place September 28th at 2:30 a.m., so just a day after the last report. And this one says it's down to just me and 3 others. No weapons, no ammo, and too many skirmishes have drained us mentally and physically. We're not going to make it. Officer Phillips once suggested that we escape through the sewers. Apparently there is a secret tunnel under this place left over from its museum days. I brushed her idea off before, but now, it's not sounding all that bad. Yeah, there's no proof there's even a tunnel or that the sewers aren't infested with zombies, but I don't want to sit here and wait to die either. It's a long shot, but I'm going to try and find out what I can about that tunnel. Signed, Elliott Edward, the same officer we saw get eaten in half and who gave us the notebook about the statues and the secret tunnel. And I believe this game mostly takes place on September 30th, so yeah, it took him a few days to get all the information together about the statues, the medallions, and the tunnel. Alright, we're getting a few different journals in rapid succession, but we're trying to wrap it up. So, next up we have Rookie's First Assignment. And it says, Leon S. Kennedy, we are putting you on a very special case for your first assignment. Your mission is to unlock your desk. The key to your success is in the initials of our first names. Input the letters in order of our desks. There are 2 locks, one on each side of your desk. Make sure you get them both. Basically, your first task is to remember your fellow officers' names. But you figured out that much, right? Good luck, Leon. By the way, it might take a little bit of work to get Scott to give you a straight answer. Signed, Lieutenant Branna. And then it says, scribbled in the corner between droplets of blood, be glad you're not here, rookie. So yeah, they had something kind of nice set up for Leon to get him to introduce to everybody, but then everything went to crap. In any case, though, the locks are still there and we still need to open them. So, on the left side, the initials are going to be N-E-D. N for Neil Carlson, E for Elliott Edward, and D for David Ford. You can also see their nameplates on their desks, so you can figure this one out pretty easily. Now on the right, that lock is going to be M-R-G. M for Marvin Branna, R for Rita Phillips, and G for George, I can't remember his last name. And inside the desk, we're going to find a speed loader for the SLS-60 handgun that Claire just happens to have. Which means if you selected Claire, that Leon's fellow officers are terrible at giving gifts. Because this is not the same gun that Leon has, and they would have just given him a speed loader for a gun that he does not own. However, of course, if you pick Leon, what you get inside the desk is different, and it actually caters to Leon's armament. I believe it's an extended magazine for him for his handgun, but I do think it's funny that if you select Claire, technically they got a gift for Leon that Leon can't even use because he does not own that gun. But that's fine for us, though. As Claire, that means we can reload our revolver a lot faster, which the reloads on this thing are pretty slow, so I am definitely happy to have that. And with that out of the way, we are done with the journals for a little while. I know we had them in rapid succession there, but I'm going to be skipping over the next few because really they're not that important. It's mostly gameplay mechanics that they go over. And I mostly want to focus on the ones that expand upon the lore of Resident Evil 2. So next up we have the evidence room, where there are a bunch of lockers that are controlled by a keypad. And that keypad happens to be missing 2 keys, one for the number 2 and one for the number 3. Which means any locker that happens to have a 2 or a 3 in its number, we cannot unlock. Which of course is most of the ones that actually hold items. So we will be looking for replacement keys throughout this playthrough. I'll go ahead and grab the items that I can from the lockers right now, which I believe are just a film roll and some handgun ammo. But yeah, you'll notice that around this point in the game is when I stop running away from all the zombies. I actually start fighting back against a few of them, especially around this hallway area, because this is a pretty highly trafficked area for the early game. I do just board up this window, so I have one less zombie to fight. Now, I don't know whether or not it was interesting to watch me dodge and run away from the zombies early on, but for those first few areas, that is genuinely the very best option you have. Like for instance, in the gas station at the very beginning of the game, you will never return to that area ever again. So there is absolutely no benefit to using any of your resources there. Because anything that you use, you lose, and you're never going to be going through there again anyway, so you basically used your items on nothing. It's way better just to run and save those for later. And then there is also the dark, bloody hallway of doom that we got into right after Elliott died, and it was swarmed with zombies that we ran past. Now, there's definitely an argument that killing off some of those zombies may be beneficial to you because you do return there eventually, but I personally think it's better just to run. But I will get back to that point here in just a moment. Right now, I'm going to develop some film, and on it is going to be a commemorative photo of what appears to be a statue, and that statue is holding a red book and a scepter with a red gem in it. So okay, the roll of film from the evidence locker is hinting at something we're going to find later on, but back to my original point, I think in the bloody hallway of doom, it's better to run from the zombies. Because whenever you play as Claire, you're only going to return to that hallway 2 times, I believe. The first time is required, and the second time is optional. Now that first time that's required, you're going to be going into a different area of that hallway, into the office area specifically. So you can pretty easily dodge all the zombies that you saw before, and you can also dodge the zombies that are in the office area pretty easily because there is a flash grenade. So there's pretty much no point in killing off any of them because you can just as easily dodge them again and keep all your resources for an area where you can't get away so easily. Now that second optional time, you're probably going to have to kill off some of the zombies, but the thing is you don't have to kill off all of them. So it's better just to wait till that second optional time to see how many you actually need to kill rather than guessing early on in the game. Plus it's also, like I said, optional, so unless you're just trying to do everything you can possibly do like I am, realistically as Claire you only need to go through that hallway one more time and there's no point in wasting your resources. But yeah, from here, the optional fights get a lot more sparing. There are some that we still run from, but there are also a good amount of them that we have to fight our way through, so the action is going to be a lot more varied going forward. And finally, that zombie who fell from the second floor is down. Man, that took a lot more effort than I thought it was going to. Then again, my accuracy there was terrible. I was maybe hitting 50% of my shots, which even though I played through this a bunch of times, my accuracy can be kind of inconsistent at times, so I'd like to say that's the worst that's going to be throughout the entire playthrough, but there are probably going to be some moments where it's not so great, although it's definitely not going to be like that all the time. In any case, I believe there are 2 more zombies in this area that we need to take down. At the very least, there is one. And that's actually going to be the zombie that was sitting in the corner that we got some handgun ammo off of earlier. She's on the 2nd floor. For her, assuming there's not one more zombie around here somewhere, we should be able to move pretty freely along the staircase in the 2nd floor, 3rd floor, and the bottom floor hallways. Which is going to be important because I'm about to do a bunch of backtracking going back and forth for certain items. And trying to dodge zombies over and over and over again as I try to do all that would be really annoying, so yeah, we're just going to take them down now and not have to worry about it later. And that 2nd floor zombie is now down, so we're going to go ahead and pick up this red herb in the corner over here, combine it with my green herb, and then we're going to head into the locker room and pick up some items there as well. So the first thing that we're going to notice is that there is steam blocking a passageway, so we cannot go through there, and the pipe is indicating that an item can be placed on it that might be able to stop that steam, so we will be looking for that later. And we're going to go ahead and open up this combination lock on this locker. The combination is going to be CAP. Now, we haven't seen anything up to this point that would indicate that that is the code that you need to put in to open that, but I have brute forced it before in order to figure it out for the first time, so I'm basically mimicking what I did the very first time I played the game. Although, whenever we reach the point in the game where we actually see the hint of what that combination is, I'll make sure to point that out. So yeah, with there only being 3 columns of letters and 5 letters in each column, there is a really limited number of combinations it can possibly be, so even if you don't find the hint, this is not the hardest thing in the world to brute force and then unlock. And inside that locker, and also another locker in this room, we found flame grenades, which will be useful for the grenade launcher whenever we finally do pick that up. We also end up finding a portable safe, which we're going to go ahead and examine and start punching buttons on. Now, to unlock that safe, you have to hit the buttons in a specific sequence, and if you end up getting it wrong, you just have to start over again and try to figure out what the pattern is. So it may take a good amount of tries, but I'm sure you'll end up figuring it out. Just kind of think of it like a bunch of numbers in a circle. It really doesn't matter which one you hit first, as long as you end up getting the pattern correct and complete the circle. And wow, I am still trying to figure out what that pattern is and complete the circle myself. This might be one of my worst attempts at trying to open one of these portable safes. Although we still have to do it one more time, and we also still have Leon who has to do it, so maybe I do better, maybe I do worse. I guess we will see. Oh, and it is also worth noting that that combination changes every single time you play this game. Like, I have done a bunch of different runs with both characters, both scenarios, and even if it is the same scenario and the same character, that combination does not remain the same. So you kind of have to figure it out every single time. But we did end up figuring it out, and within that safe we found a spare part, which that spare part is a key. Like a keyboard key. And as you may recall, back in the evidence room, the keypad was missing 2 keys. So now we can use this replacement as either the number 2 or the number 3 on that keypad, and start opening up even more evidence lockers. I elected to use the spare key as the number 3, and I just opened up the locker 103. And I believe that is the only locker that you can open if you do decide to use that first key as the number 3. So this is going to be the only item we get out of the evidence room for a little while, and it's just going to be an extra combat knife. I am trying to stock up on as many of those as I can because, like I said, those are very important for later, and again, we will get to why whenever we get to that part. But yeah, I'd like to have more than 1. I'd actually like to have 3. We'll see if that happens, though. And alright, down this hall is going to be another locker that is locked with a combination lock. The combination is going to be D as in Delta, C as in Charlie, M as in Mike. And we get that opened up, and we're going to find some Magnum ammo. Oh, wait a minute. I'm playing as Claire, not Leon. So no, it's not Magnum ammo. It is submachine gun ammo, so my bad. In any case, the story's still the same. We don't get the submachine gun until later on in the game, so yeah. This ammo is not the most useful right now, but I'd rather have it and not forget it, so yeah, cool. Also, just like before, there have not been any hints about what that combo was prior to me putting it in. I just knew it because I brute forced it previously and made a note about it. So yeah, this is another scenario where if you don't feel like waiting for the hints, you can easily just kind of figure out what the combo is after many, many, many attempts. And in that regard, it didn't really seem like it was worth waiting because you could easily just figure it out without waiting for the hint. Although, like I mentioned before, whenever we do get to the point whenever you can get that hint, I will let you know. But besides that combination lock and that locker, right beside it was a key that was on a desk, and we went ahead and picked that up. And there are going to be 4 keys like this throughout the entire game. The one I picked up was a Spade Key. And all 4 of those keys are going to have the same gimmick. They're going to be representing symbols that you would find on a deck of playing cards. So there's going to be the spade, like the one that we just picked up. There's also going to be a club, a heart, and a diamond. Although Claire will not have access to the club key, that is a Leon exclusive. And the heart key is also exclusively available to Claire. And there are doors all throughout the police station that have those symbols on them, so it's going to be pretty easy to figure out which doors require which key.
What was that?
And that monster out there climbing on the walls is going to be our very first encounter with a licker, which is our very first high threat enemy in the game. And back here is a note that'll give a little bit more detail on them. The note is titled, "To Any Survivors." Consider this a gift for anyone still unfortunate enough to be alive. Keep your eyes peeled for those creepy fucks that look like they were skinned alive. Lickers, we call them. They're blind as bats, but their hearing more than makes up for that. As long as you don't run around like a total idiot, guns a-blazing, you should be able to slip right by them. Probably. Either way, make like my grandma and creep around as slow as possible. Anyway, not that I want to go, but duty calls. That, and I've got a friend to avenge. Signed, David Ford. So yeah, whenever it comes to the liquors, it's probably a better idea to sneak by them than to fight them, but sometimes that may not be an option, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, we are now in the east side storage room where some weird things have happened. We found a body just hanging from the ceiling, and we also see a bunch of dead bodies in a barred up room that's also barricaded up. And on the barricade, there also happens to be a block of C4, so yeah, not really sure what was going on here, but this note should provide some insight. The note is titled Some Guy's Scribblings, and it says, "Damn those corporate assholes, they cut me off, after all I've done for them. But if that is how it's going to be, I'm going to have a little fun of my own as the world goes to shit. I boarded all those filthy pigs up in a steel pen, and set some C4. All I gotta do is detonate it, and it's sayonara, suckers. But it's no fun if it's over too soon. So maybe I'll give that one raving loon something to really squeal about. Yeah, maybe I'll give him a little toy and tell him, kill the guy next to you and I'll spare the others. I wonder what he will do. You yell about justice and pride, but how many times did you go against me, your own superior? Yeah, you're such a good cop. So good you had to die. Man, this is fun. I really need some music for this." So yeah, it sounds like someone on the police force was double-crossed by some sort of corporate organization and he was taking it out on the rest of the force. We may end up getting some more details on that later. But yeah, also caged up with those bodies is the statue of that one lady that we need to get the medallion from, so we're eventually going to have to detonate that wall and get in there.
Claire, it's Marvin. How fast can you get back here?
Why? What's up?
I've got something to show you. It's important.
All right, I'm on my way.
Alright, we have a couple of minutes to kill before we actually go and check on Marvin. What I'm wanting to do is clear out this entire library because if you don't, it can be kind of problematic later. And we're also going to be picking up some items and readjusting some of the scenery. So right now it's not super important to take out these zombies, but I want to go ahead and do it now whenever I have a bunch of ammo so I don't have to worry about it later and also so I don't forget. Because there is going to come a point in this game when we have to kind of urgently return to this library, and since there is some urgency to it, we really don't want to be worrying about zombies getting in our way. And cool, there's that third combat knife that I was hoping for, so as long as I don't end up needing to use those defensively, I should go into the situation where I need the knives with every knife that I can possibly have up to this point. So yeah, we're in pretty good standing at the moment. And also in the small room next to the library, I ended up finding the unicorn statue, so I'm taking a look at the notes, and it looks like the symbols we need for it are going to be fish, scorpion, and a vase of water. We put those in and we get the unicorn medallion. So only one more medallion to go. There is some gunpowder on that table over there, but I'm going to ignore that for right now. So let's go ahead and get back to taking out the zombies in the library. There's another one over here that's sitting down. But even though he is sitting down, eventually he will stand up. And I promise it will be at one of the most inconvenient times in the game. Because that is just the kind of luck that I have. So instead of letting that happen, we're just going to go ahead and take him out now. And I also just picked up a red book, and that should look familiar because back in the commemorative photo, we saw the statue was holding a red book, so pretty safe to assume that we need to get that red book back to a statue. And in here, we're going to be moving around the bookcases ever so slightly. Eventually, these are going to form a walkway on the broken, walkway above the bookcases. And you'll notice that there is a zombie eating a corpse over there. We're going to ignore him and not bother him, because as long as you don't mess with him, and as long as you don't climb up that ladder, he's just going to continue enjoying his meal and not care about you. So yeah, we're not going to bother him, he's not going to bother us, and life is going to be good. And alright, it's finally time to check up on Marvin.
There you are. Come here.
What is it?
Take a look.
Oh my god, he made it!
You know him?
Yeah, it's Leon. Kennedy, I think?
The rookie. Thought he looked familiar. You can make it to that courtyard. The second floor, east side.
Okay. Thanks, Marvin. I'm on it.
Okay, Leon is just going to have to hang out in the rain for a little bit longer as we have a few things to do before we go see him. First things first, we're going to go ahead and drop off that unicorn medallion. And then we're also going to get rid of that spade key that we found earlier. Pretty much every single door that requires that spade key can be found right here in the entrance hall. There are 3 doors that need the key. One is the library that we just exited from the second floor. Also on the second floor is another door in the reception room. And on the first floor, there's the door to the west office where we found Leon's desk earlier. After you unlock all 3 of those doors, you can get rid of the Spade Key and you don't need it anymore. Before we use up the Spade Key, though, I do need to run one other errand. I'm going to be returning back to the hallway on the east side where we found that dead body with the radio earlier. I want to board up one of the windows that was over on that side of the building, that way it kind of limits the amount of zombies that we need to deal with a little bit later. You will probably see me go through a lot more effort to block off those windows and things of that nature just to limit the amount of encounters I need to deal with. Now, if I was going for speed, I probably wouldn't have to deal with that a whole lot, but since I'm trying to show like all the documents, get all the extra items, all that fun stuff, that means I'm going to be putting myself more in harm's way than I normally would. So any opportunity I have to limit the amount of zombies I need to deal with, well, I'm going to go ahead and take that opportunity. And alright, we went ahead and got that window boarded up, so now it's time to go unlock the final door with the Spade Key, and that's going to be in the reception office on the 2nd floor. And that is also the door that we need to go through in order to reach Leon. But I'm not done getting a few different items yet, so Leon, you just continue to hang out in that rain, try not to get sick. After all, I do hear there is a nasty illness going around at the moment. And alright, here in the reception room, there's also a document for us to read, and that's going to be titled Guide Pamphlet. And the pamphlet says, "Welcome to Raccoon City. Did you know? While we are the home of pharmaceutical giant Umbrella Corporation, Raccoon City is a vibrant and dynamic city with a long, rich history of its own. In this guide, we'll introduce you to a few of the more unusual points of interest this city has to offer. Starting off, we have the Raccoon City Police Station. The building in the center of town wasn't always a police station. In fact, it used to be an art museum. Various features like the unusual clock tower and the goddess statue in the main hall remind us of a bygone era. Next up, we have the orphanage. Just a few blocks from the police station is an orphanage founded and run by the Umbrella Corporation, with the help of generous donations from businesses and civilians alike. The building is known for its stained glass window, which attracts visitors from around the world.
Who turns a museum into a police station?
And that is a really good question from Claire, but at least it kind of explains some of the things that we've been seeing, like the statues of the unicorn, the lady, and the lion. And also the statue that we're looking for that has that scepter that we need to return the red book to. Speaking of which, that's what we're about to be doing. All of that is going to happen in this room, but I'm going to go ahead and pick up the key card right here, and that's going to be needed to get into the storage locker back in the evidence room. And that contains the grenade launcher, so we're about to have a good upgrade to our weapons. And over here we have a copy of the Raccoon magazine. And it has an article titled The Red Stone. And it says, "The ruby that captivated Edward the Black Prince. The pearl that the Queen of the Nile milked dry. The diamond that led a queen to the guillotine. There is no end to the number of tales related to the appeal of jewels. This mysterious red stone is simply the latest to sparkle among them. Like those other jewels, this one's origin is unknown. It is said that it once adorned a noble woman's jeweled box, and was even dedicated to a wise king. This fall, this stone that's long been shrouded in legend is going to be on display during auction. There are sure to be many eager enthusiasts there. But dear reader, one would do well to approach with care, for devilry lies in beauty's shadow. This jewel has turned caring nobles who love their subjects into despots." Did I say that right? Whatever. "More terrible than Caligula. And we have the tales to prove it. Seriously, it's precisely because these jewels are bathed in blood that their luster stirs something in the hearts of people everywhere." Alright, cool article. And going back to that statue, we kind of see the statue kind of looks like a king who's holding a scepter, so since the red jewel is related to the king, I guess we're just going to continue to expand upon that lure and try to acquire that jewel. And following the context clues that article gave us, we know there's going to be a jewelry box around here somewhere that's also going to be related to that jewel. Or at least you can pretty safely assume that. So yeah, for the statue, this one's really easy. You pick up the hand for the statue, you combine it with the red book, you put it back on the statue then gives you the scepter. If you examine the scepter, you can take out the jewel. And I just got done mentioning the grenade launcher earlier, but this jewel is also going to be the key part of how we end up getting another weapon upgrade later. But yeah, this jewel, that statue, I guess all that kind of ties back into when this place was a museum, so at least all this is kind of tying together. And now that we've returned everything to that statue and gotten the red gem scepter, we're just going to go ahead and backtrack and get that grenade launcher. And along the way, while we are backtracking, I'll go ahead and drop off the red gem, the green herb, and the spare boards that we have, because they're not really going to be useful for a little while. And then we'll press on, go back to the evidence room, get that grenade launcher, and I think that's the last thing that we need to do. And then we can finally get back on track with the main events of the game. Now, along the way to getting the grenade launcher, I don't think there's a route that we can take that will not involve us encountering some kind of opposition. Actually, you know what? Yeah, there is. We could go through the library on the second floor, then go through the storage room, and then just kind of go down the stairway, go down the long hallway. In other words, we could take the long way around and avoid any sort of opposition, but oh yeah, Leon. I swear we are almost done with all the side stuff and we will finally get around to going to see you. In this case, I guess I'll just go ahead and fight off like one zombie, and then we'll get to the evidence room a lot faster. So we are going to be going through the west office instead, which is honestly setting us up for a fast route to somewhere we need to go later on in the game whenever we have a little bit more urgency, so this is probably a good idea to go ahead and do anyway. In the west office, there was a zombie that was just sitting in the ground in the room by himself, right next to the safe. But after you pass through the spade door, he will get up and try to confront you. I am in the process of taking him down now, but there is another zombie in here as well. He is seated in one of the chairs on the row of desks. Now, he will remain sitting in that chair, basically sleeping for as long as the game goes on, as long as you don't run behind him. The moment you run behind him is whenever he gets up and tries to attack you. The walkway I'm currently standing in behind these desks, that's the safe one. There's no one seated in any of these chairs. So you can go the entire game without bothering him as long as you run down the correct row of desks. But enough about the zombies in the west office, it is finally time for our weapon upgrade. Back in the evidence room, we pick up the grenade launcher from that locker. I'm excited to have it, but honestly the grenade launcher is not going to be super important for the early game. Although it is going to start to see some use in the mid game, and it's going to be very important in the late game. Like off the top of my head, it's going to be very crucial to have that grenade launcher for, I believe, 2 boss battles? Possibly 3? So yeah, even though I don't use it early on, it is going to be very important later on. So since the grenade launcher is not going to be very important right now, there's really no reason to keep it in our inventory. And once we have that put away, finally all the side stuff is over. No more getting distracted. It's finally time to go see Leon outside in the rain. Now, it has been a pretty long time since Marvin told us about him being out there, so hopefully he has not been eaten or something along those lines yet. Like, it would be really funny if there was some sort of a time requirement for that, kind of like whenever it came to trying to save Richard in the first Resident Evil. Like, if you take too long to get him serum in the first Resident Evil, he dies. It'd be really funny if that mechanic carried over here with Leon, like, oh, you kept him waiting so long, an entire horde of zombies has eaten him, and now you're going to have trouble progressing through the game. And that sucks for you. I guess you're not going to get the good ending. Oh hey, I hear that helicopter that was talking on the radio earlier. Well, alright, I guess it was a good thing I procrastinated so much, otherwise a helicopter would have just taken me out.
Hey! Claire?
Leon! I'll be right there!
Come on.
Leon, we really gotta stop meeting like this.
Are you all right? Police chopper, it just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I'm fine.
I take it you don't have the key.
No, I don't. It's good to see your face, though. How are you holding up?
I'm hanging in there.
Hell of a night, huh?
Yeah. You find your brother?
I did, actually. He's... Just when you think it can't get any worse. Leon, you should get going.
Don't worry about me. Just get yourself to safety.
No, Leon, seriously, they're getting through the fence. Please, just go.
We're gonna make it. Both of us.
That is going to be the stopping point for this episode. And since this episode basically began with Claire and Leon meeting, ending it the same way sounds like a pretty good plan. So, what happened in this episode? We found that Raccoon City is experiencing a zombie outbreak. So basically nothing we did in the first game did anything to stop the outbreak in Raccoon City. It's nice to know all that effort we put in really made a difference. But yeah, the zombie outbreak is happening. None of the characters in this game so far seem to know why that's happening. We ended up selecting Claire as our playable character. We navigated her all the way to the police station, but we lost Leon for a little while. Now, the police station was just as bad as the rest of the city, but at least we got to meet the police lieutenant Marvin. But Marvin is suffering from a wound that will probably end up causing him not to reach the end credits. Shortly after arriving, we found a secret passageway that could give us a safe way of exiting the city, but we are still in the process of opening that secret passageway. Along the way, we upgraded our weapons a little bit, took out a bunch of zombies, and finally, we eventually met Leon again. But not long after that, he went off on his own little adventure, and we're going to be continuing ours in the very next episode. Speaking of which, the next episode is going to include us finally getting that secret passageway open. We'll also be fighting the very first boss of the game, meeting Claire's companion character for the story, and meeting another side character. So yeah, we have a lot to look forward to. But until then, thank you for watching this episode, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to check out my previous playthrough of the Resident Evil 1 remake, and I also have a bunch of playthroughs of a bunch of other games on the Thor's Entertainment channel. So yeah, thank you again for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care, and hopefully I'll see you next time.